guys, and welcome to a book review. I was just looking because apparently there's a blue moon in here because I only ever do book reviews once in a blue moon, it seems. Yeah. Okay, it has been a while since like April 26th since I have done a book review. Yeah, that is like a while. And this book review was requested, and apparently I got it all confused and mixed up because I thought the person said they wanted a review of The Monsters of Men by Patrick Ness, not Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. And I made that same mistake a little bit a couple of days ago, and I was just like, I better recheck that. And I was right. So, yeah, here we go. Now, this follows a 13-year-old Connor who has recently been having paralyzing and frightening nightmares ever since his mother once again started her treatments. And one night at 7:30 after midnight, he wakes up to find a monster outside of his window, except that this is not the monster of his nightmares, and he's not afraid, and he may be even a little bit disappointed. And this monster is something different and wild and of the earth. He takes a form of a yew tree out back and is just like this big hulking figure, and Connor's not scared at all. But this monster tells Connor that he was called to walk upon this earth by Connor himself, and Connor is really disbelieving of this fact. But anyway, the monster tells him that he will tell him 3 tales. He will tell him 3 tales of when he was previously called to walk this earth. And after the 3rd tale, he will expect Connor to tell a tale. He'll expect Connor to tell a tale, and it must be the truth. Connor just is not liking this at all. Now, this book was written very fluidly, easy, and just oh so good. I mean, anyone can read this novel. It's not very hard, but it's not so simple that you're just like, it's just stupid. But no, it was written awesomely. Yeah, it's kind of more leaning towards a kids, young adult sort of book, but I feel like the message that you get from this book is, everybody's sort of able to relate to it, and I think it would be good for kids of ages younger, maybe, and adults older who are going through a similar situation, and they can relate to it. And I think we all know what that situation is at this point. I mean, this is a fairly easy and predictable book. I mean, that doesn't stop you from loving it, though, because even though you can see most of the time where it's going and what's going to happen and everything, you feel for Connor. You get lost in what he is going through, when he feels, and how he's processing all of this information and everything, and it was just a wonderful, absolutely wonderful novel, and you grow. Connor is you just so get enraptured with his story. Now, Connor is angry and confused and sad a lot of the times, and he doesn't really know what to do with all of these emotions. And one of the ways, sorry for the train, he takes responsibility for the household, like cooking and cleaning, throwing out the trash so that his mother doesn't have to, so that that responsibility is not placed on her. But he still has to go to his school where he doesn't have any friends, and he is currently being bullied, and he just feels isolated and lonely and a little bit invisible. And then we have Connor's grandmother, who he butts heads with a lot. She is very assertive sort of person, take charge and everything, and Connor, he feels sort of grown up in his own way. He sort of kind of lashes out at the people, I think, who cares about him the most, I would say, I guess. I'm not sure if lash out the right word, but he just draws more into himself. We see hints of his father, who has kind of abandoned him in a way, because they live in London. This story takes place in London. He moved on to America with a new wife and baby, and this sort of just takes, we kind of see him interact there a little bit. Now, then we move on to the monster, who is simply, I guess, the best to describe him besides looking like a tree. He encompasses the truth. The monster, very much is truth, and the truth is not good. The truth is not bad. The truth is just is. He's the truth, and the monster kind of holds up a mirror to Connor's life for Connor, as you can say, and him and Connor have a very I don't really actually know how to describe their relationship, because Connor doesn't really trust the monster, but the monster is just there just to tell the truth. He's not there to take sides. He's not there to make things better. He's not there to make things worse. He's just there to tell Connor some things that apparently Connor needs to hear. Now this, sorry, I'm looking down because I wrote some notes, but this story is kind of like a mix of fairy tale and reality, all mixed into one. Like, we have the 3 stories that the monster tells, which are all very kind of fairy tale-ish, plus the monster himself and that. But then again, we still have Connor and his home life and his school life and everything else, and that's all very grounded in reality, and there are consequences to actions and words and deeds and stuff, and that is very good. And I think that's all I have to say about this novel. I don't really want to spoil too much. This is an amazing book. I think we can see where I'm going with this. I like the fairy tale and the fantasy and the grounding. There's not much I disliked about this book. There's only one thing, except the bullying storyline. I mean, not against the bullying itself. I mean, I know people bully each other and I don't like that, but about how it got sort of resolved or some stuff, and yeah, it was sort of like, I don't think that decision would have happened from the bully. I'm just like, really? And really, that was the only bad thing I could say, and it's not even a bad thing. It was more of a, I got over it, because it wasn't really about that, but I was still kind of thinking about it. So yeah, I gave this book a 5 out of 5 stars on GoodReads, and I gave it an 8 out of 10 on my other rating scale. And for those of you who haven't seen that video, I'll leave a link to it below. It's sort of confusing, but yeah, there we are. And also, if you do this with the book cover, you get this, and it's absolutely amazing. And another thing, if you are going to buy this book, which I don't know, I think you should buy it. I mean, it's a really lovely book, and it has like the nicest pictures. But if you're not, if you kind of know that if this is the kind of thing you only read once, this is absolutely my favorite picture. Then go ahead and get it out of the library, because I do recommend that you read it. It is a really good, and if don't buy it on the Kindle, because these pictures actually enhance this story, and it just gives you so much to look and think about, and I think you would kind of miss out on that experience if you bought it on the Kindle, especially with all these lovely pictures and things. So yes, that was my book review, and I hope you like it, and please tell me if you have read this book before or not, if you liked it, if you didn't, if now you think you might be interested in reading it, and if there's something in this review that I have not touched upon, please tell me what you think I could do in future reviews that you might like better. Okay, then I will see you guys later, and I will leave my GoodReads, my Twitter and everything down below, as well as a list of my upcoming videos. Oh, but before I go, I wanted to read the author's note in here, which is only like a page, real quick, and I'll just read that out, and if you don't want to stay tuned, then you don't have to. Bye. I never got to meet Siobhan Dowd. I only know her the way that most of the rest of you will, through her superb books, 4 electric young adult novels, 2 published in her lifetime, 2 after her too early death. If you haven't read them, remedy that oversight immediately. This would have been her 5th book. She had the characters, a premise, and a beginning. What she didn't have, unfortunately, was time. When I was asked if I would consider turning her work into a book, I hesitated. What I wouldn't do, what I couldn't do, was write a novel mimicking her voice. That would have been a disservice to her, to the reader, and most importantly to the story. I don't think good writing can possibly work that way. But the thing about good ideas is that they grow other ideas. Almost before I could help it, Siobhan's ideas were suggesting new ones to me, and I began to feel that itch that every writer longs for, the itch to start getting words down, the itch to tell a story. I felt and feel as if I'd been handed a baton, like a particular fine writer had given me her story and said, "Go, run with it, make trouble." So that's what I tried to do. Along the way, I had only a single guideline: to write a book I think Siobhan would have liked. No other criteria could really matter. And now, it's time to hand the baton on to you. Stories don't end with the writers, however many started the race. Here's what Siobhan and I came up with. So go, run with it, make trouble.